Picture this midnight on a Friday, and a global e-commerce site suddenly goes dark. Thousands of customers trying to check out, orders failing, support tickets flooding in, and on the operations dashboard, nothing makes sense. The system wasn't under an unexpected load. The servers weren't down, yet the entire checkout process was failing.
Sounds like a nightmare. So what went wrong?
Well, in the next 30 minutes, we're going to peel back the layers and understand exactly what cloud computing really means in production. Not the marketing slides you've seen, not the buzzwords, but the nuts and bolts. The real reasoning behind why companies move to the cloud and how hyperscale infrastructure actually behaves in the wild. By the end of this episode, you'll start thinking like an architect, not just a learner.
And that means we'll be talking about trade-offs, failure modes, and the kind of reasoning that separates junior engineers from seasoned cloud architects.
Welcome to JurasNetwork, your home for cloud DevOps and masterclasses designed for engineers who want to go beyond theory. Every episode, we dive into production-grade architecture, uncover real-world patterns, and give you the mindset you need to make decisions that matter. I'm
And I'm Sam. Today, we're unraveling what cloud computing really means in production. So, if you've ever wondered why some companies thrive in the cloud while others stumble, stay tuned.
Let's start with context. When most beginners think cloud, they picture a server somewhere off-site, spinning up at the click of a button. Marketing talks about elasticity, scalability, and pay-as-you-go. And while that's not wrong, it barely scratches the surface.
Exactly. I remember my first project migrating a small web app to the cloud. I thought it would just work. We ended up with performance bottlenecks, unexpected costs, and an outage that could have been avoided with just a bit of architectural thinking.
That's the common trap. Beginners often focus on feature storage, compute, network without understanding the underlying systems. They miss how cloud providers actually operate at hyperscale. Every service you touch is running on infrastructure designed for millions of customers, with redundancies, failovers, and automated scaling baked in. It's not magic. It's carefully engineered trade-offs between consistency, availability, and cost.
And that's why understanding the cloud at an architect level matters. It's not about memorizing commands or services. It's about reasoning. What happens when you design a system for one region versus multiple regions? What happens when a database node fails? How does your architecture respond? These are the real-world questions that separate theory from practice.
So in this episode, we'll break down cloud computing step by step. We'll cover what hyperscale infrastructure looks like, why companies move workloads to the cloud, and how you can start thinking like an architect, even if you're just beginning.
Let's start at the foundation. What cloud computing really is. At its core, the cloud is just someone else's data center, but not any data center. It's one that's automated, programmatically controlled, and designed to scale globally. Think of it like a self-driving logistics network. There are warehouses, trucks, inventory systems, but everything is orchestrated so packages move efficiently without human intervention.
That's a good analogy. In a hyperscale cloud, your warehouses are availability zones, isolated data centers within a region. Trucks are the virtual machines or containers moving workloads around. The cloud provider orchestrates these elements so your system can handle millions of requests without you manually provisioning each resource.
Now, beginners often assume that spinning up a VM is all they need. But in production, the system's reliability depends on designing for failure. Servers fail, networks fail, even entire data centers can become unavailable. That's why cloud services offer concepts like redundancy, load balancing, and multi-region replication.
Let's dig into that. Say you have a web application running on 2 servers in one availability zone. If that zone goes down, your app is offline. But if you distribute across 3 zones in the same region, with a load balancer intelligently routing traffic, your application can survive zone-level failures. The trade-off? Cost increases, complexity rises, and you need monitoring to detect issues in real time.
And here's where people often get tripped up. The cloud doesn't automatically make your application resilient. It gives you the building blocks, but you have to assemble them correctly. Understanding eventual consistency, caching, state management, and asynchronous workflows becomes critical.
Exactly. And scaling introduces another layer. There's vertical scaling, bigger VMs, and horizontal scaling, more VMs, and vertical scaling is simpler but hits limits quickly. Horizontal scaling is more complex but supports millions of concurrent users if designed properly. Production engineers must balance scaling strategy against cost, latency, and operational complexity.
Let's talk about why companies move to the cloud. There are a few patterns. First, agility, deploying features faster, spinning up environments on demand. Second, operational efficiency. You don't manage physical hardware, security patches, or server lifecycle. Third, global reach. Cloud providers have data centers worldwide, letting you deploy closer to your users. And finally, cost optimization, but only if you understand usage patterns. Otherwise, cloud bills can spiral.
Hyperscale infrastructure is a marvel of engineering. Providers like AWS, Azure, or GCP design their networks for multi-tenancy, high throughput, and resiliency. They leverage automation to orchestrate thousands of servers, optimize energy use, and balance workloads dynamically. From a learning perspective, it's important to remember, you're not managing individual servers. You're designing systems to leverage these building blocks safely and efficiently.
Terminology is key here. Compute can be vMIS, containers, or serverless functions. Storage can be block, object, or database services. Networking can be virtual private clouds, peering, or content delivery networks. Understanding these concepts is more important than memorizing. Service names. Think in terms of abstraction layers and trade-offs.
And trade-offs are everywhere. You want low latency? You might replicate data closer to users, increasing storage costs. You want high durability? You'll need multi-region replication, increasing complexity and network cost. An architect thinks about these trade-offs before provisioning resources. A developer often reacts after an outage.
One last point on deep concepts. Mental models. Imagine the cloud as a city. Compute instances are buildings, storage is warehouses, networks are roads, and the orchestrator is city management. You can't just build anywhere. You have zoning rules, traffic patterns, and disaster plans. This model helps engineers reason about failures and optimizations naturally.
Let's bring this into production reality. Real-world companies implement cloud systems differently based on scale. A startup may run 3 microservices in a single region, focusing on speed and cost. An enterprise may have hundreds of services across multiple regions, with strict compliance, auditing, and security requirements.
And scaling isn't linear. As traffic grows, you can't just double the instances. You need monitoring, auto-scaling policies, load testing, and capacity planning. You also need alerting so you know not just that something failed, but why it failed.
Security is another major factor. In production, sensitive data must be encrypted at rest and in transit. IAM policies must be strict, and audit logs must be comprehensive. Cost also becomes a production concern. Spinning up hundreds of instances for redundancy is great for reliability, but can be expensive if not managed carefully.
Then there are architectural anti-patterns, single points of failure, over-reliance on vertical scaling, or ignoring network latency are common mistakes. In production, these mistakes lead to outages, degraded performance, and increased costs. Learning to spot them early is crucial.
Now, let's talk about the mindset. Senior engineers and interviewers think in scenarios. They ask, what happens if a region fails? How does the system degrade? Can you deploy safely? Can you roll back quickly?
Decision-making frameworks help. For example, when choosing between managed services versus self-managed, you consider operational overhead, cost, flexibility, and risk. Sometimes a fully managed database is more expensive, but it reduces operational risk dramatically.
Architect-level reasoning also includes trade-off analysis under uncertainty. You rarely have perfect information in production. You need to make decisions that balance reliability, performance, and cost. That's why storytelling and scenario planning are invaluable.
A simple question to train your thinking. If a critical service goes down, do users experience complete outage or degraded functionality? Designing for graceful degradation is a hallmark of production-ready cloud systems.
Another mindset shift is thinking in terms of asynchronous systems. In production, synchronous designs fail under load. Using queues, event-driven architectures, and retries ensures resilience and scalability.
Here's something you can do today. Take a small app, maybe a simple web service, and deploy it in a cloud region. Set up to availability zones, a load balancer, and simulate a failure by shutting down one instance. Observe how traffic shifts and how monitoring alerts respond.
Document your findings. Which services failed gracefully? Which didn't? Did latency increase? Did you understand why? This exercise forces you to think like an architect, not just a user of the cloud. It also bridges theory and production reality.
Let's recap. Today, we've gone beyond the marketing definition of cloud computing. We explored hyperscale infrastructure, real-world trade-offs, and why companies migrate workloads to the cloud. We emphasize resilience, scalability, and the architect's mindset.
Remember, cloud is not magic. It's highly orchestrated infrastructure designed to handle failure, scale dynamically, and optimize cost, but only if you design with understanding. Thinking in mental models, planning for failure, and balancing trade-offs is what separates a junior engineer from a production-ready architect.
In the next episode, we'll dive deeper into specific services and patterns how databases, caches, and event-driven systems behave in production, and how to reason about them before ever provisioning a single resource.
Until then, practice what we discussed today. Observe, experiment, and start thinking like an architect. That's how mastery begins.
Thanks for tuning into JurasNetwork. We'll see you next time.